Hey everyone, Doc Testosterone here with Meditation Misfit. I've been wanting to do this for so long. We've been friends for so many years, but he finally gave us the privilege of having him on the Doc Testosterone channel. Meditation Misfit, his name is Hung No, and I have known him since Las Vegas. And we've hung out a lot, we've worked out a lot. He used to be my trainer. He used to train me on doing deadlifts. He's been a power lifter. He's gaining a lot of weight too. And the link for his channel will be in the description. The first topic in episode 1, let's talk about the visceral cultural differences between the Western world and our world. Now, of course, a lot of white people who are listening, and I have a lot of white students too, you're going to relate to this because human beings are similar to each other. And even though he comes from a Vietnamese background, I come from an Indian background, we resonate with the Western world. But what I want to know is, what are those pain points, those deep suffering points that immigrants suffer from when they come from the Eastern world, be it China, India, Pakistan, Vietnam, whatever, to the American world? What are those big pain points that they have in school as teenagers, as 20-year-olds, 30-year-olds, 40-year-olds, and what have we experienced and how have we overcome those pain points?
Good way to put it. Thank you for having me, Doc. Let's get into our backgrounds and growing up as kids in a brand new environment. We almost feel like foreigners when we come here, even though I was born and raised here. Again, my parents are from Vietnam, and I'm like the first generation to be born here and grew up here and to get like a full actual first world education. And it's almost like an identity crisis and a culture crisis when we're put here and we're trying to adjust in a brand new foreign world.
Did you get made fun of as a kid?
Yeah, partially so. It wasn't necessarily like direct being made fun of like any other normal American kid. It was more like feeling different because I had different clothes. My looks were different, obviously, my color of skin. So I just felt like an outsider.
Right. Especially the fact that you're raised in Texas.
Yeah.
Of
it's
all
a very
places.
Red state, very conservative. And I knew that from an early age, like it's a different environment and I'm just really different. Most of it was just fed through, like conditioning from media as well. And my parents just warned me, okay, like you're gonna be bullied, it's gonna be different, worried about racism. In actuality, like most of that probably did more harm than good. When really it's just like, if you tell your kids, you're gonna get through it, it's just another obstacle, you'll be fine. I think that would have been a better advice growing up.
Gotcha. So I'll tell you, from my background, I actually took a lot of, gifted and talented classes. So I was friends with a lot of white people. And as I was growing up, I got made fun of. I cried every day. I would come home and I would remember my great grandma because I was very close to her. So I had this crazy culture shock because I came to America when I was 9, did not really speak English that well, even though I went to an American school back home in Pakistan. And I had this culture shock. I always felt that I was against the West, right? This is the mindset that was kind of inculcated in me by my parents. And my society still believes that, right? My community, religious community or just the Eastern culture community, they still believe that we are in a foreign place and it is us against them. Did you feel that kind of notion? Or do you still feel it? What happened there?
In a sense that us versus them, I didn't feel it that way. It was more of like, it's us and them over there, and there's no real connection between like Asian culture. Because, I mean, think about it. We're literally Western culture and Eastern culture on the opposite side. How much are we really connected at all? I mean, when I was growing up, I didn't think anyone knew anything about Vietnamese culture or kind of knew about Asian culture. But then getting more educated later on is like, oh, they know about Vietnam, kind of. They know about the war. It's warfare now. It's warfare. Soup. Yeah. I mean, eventually later on, people are starting to know about pho now. Now it's the thing.
Right.
But even back then, people didn't know. Yeah.
In Montreal, we have a Vietnamese wrap for $2.
Yeah, it's the banh mi. You gotta get on that sandwich banh mi, which is pretty popular too in the West.
Yeah, dude. Yeah, so basically, we have suffering, right? Let's say suffering, which is the identity crisis, the cultural stuff. What would you say is the number one pain that you suffered as a kid, which you wanted to overcome more than anything else?
I would say mostly it was just trying to fit in correctly. And that applies to anyone of all races, and children feel that way, and it's being nurtured and then reinforcing that you'll eventually figure that out yourself. It was just, for me, I had the thought process of keep on thinking that I was just different in every way possible, and that made it more complicated then.
Got it. Yeah, for me, it was more getting validation from somewhere, right? So I knew for a fact that my parents wanted me to be a doctor, or something along those lines, something in the medical profession, or even like an engineer. Not so much that, because my dad's a doctor, so they wanted me to like follow in that path.
Yeah.
And I just wanted to do stuff to make them happy, at the expense of whatever maybe my future goals, right? So for example, I memorized all the tables, the multiplication tables.
Yeah.
I had memorized a lot of, just like getting A's in school.
Yeah, really nerded out.
Big time.
Yeah.
So they used to call me super nerd.
Yeah.
Some people still do, which is great. But me validating myself just to make my parents happy and my society happy, because that was their core value, education.
Okay. Yeah.
Right? But it's like education in what they think education is. Might not necessarily be what education is with like a capital E.
Yeah.
Right? So, so basically what you're saying is fitting in was your number one pain point.
Yeah.
And I would say my number one pain point was getting that self-esteem boost through validation from my parents and my community.
Yeah, exactly.
So that's it for this episode. We talked about our pain points, the number one thing we suffered from. In the next episode, we will discuss how this number one pain point for both of us has evolved, and how we have overcome that pain point with our experiences. Any last words before we end here?
No, check out Meditation Misfit.
Yeah, man, I'm gonna link in the comments his channel, Meditation Misfit. We're gonna get into that in a later episode, what exactly Meditation Misfit is and how it's different from all the other meditation, information, education, and gurus out there. So we're gonna get to that soon. If you like this video, click on the like button, subscribe to my channel. You'll see it over here. And also pass this to people who are perhaps from an Indian or Chinese or any kind of Asian background, or even from a Western background who've suffered from this, even like a Scandinavian, European. A lot of backgrounds have this difficulty in kids that are growing up. So share this with your friends and tell us your comments in terms of how you suffered, what your pain points were. And if you have any questions for Doc or Misfit, let us know. This is Doc Testosterone, and we will see you in the next episode.
Later.